Hello, loyal subjects! Today we will be discussing the long-awaited epic finale of the Chaos Walking trilogy, Monsters of Men by Patrick Ness. What can I say about this book other than you should all definitely read this trilogy. Patrick Ness is literally a genius. He's literally a motherfucking God's angel descended upon high genius. So obviously I liked this book. This was my favourite in the series, I think. Oh man, oh man. I can't really tell you anything about it without completely spoiling the first two books. Just know that it was good. This series was good. You should read it if you like sci-fi, fast-paced, thrilling, action, war, love, all of those good things. And even if you're not someone who you think would usually like sci-fi, I would say start off with this series because it's not too spacey. Okay, so that's all for those people who haven't read it. Bye, non-spoilery people. Okay. So, we start off this book on the same sentence that the last one ended, with Todd and Amaya watching as the Spackle invade New Prentice Town and start killing people. Whoa. So, the Spackle are a lot more strategic than people would give them credit for. The way that this war unfolded was just crazy. First, it was just all-out fighting. We start with just all the blood and guts and gore and death and violence that war entails. And then as it goes on, we see more of the strategic stuff that goes on with wars, the political things, the alliances, the struggles between civilians. So, the mayor. He's pretty much beside Todd throughout almost the entirety of this book, and I never trusted him for a second. But he did start to show some genuine human feelings. And I thought, okay, what's he up to? He must be up to something. And I was shaking my head whenever Todd would say he could control him, he could keep him under his thumb. But I'm like, bro, we both know the mayor. We know that that guy is not going to give up on his cause. So Mistress Coyle, I have never liked her from the start. I did not like her philosophy that an end justifies the means and that she would just sacrifice anything to get what she had to get done. She really reminds me in that way of Owen from Attack on Titan, except not as cool or toupee-ish looking. And how she ended, like, I could tell she was up to something, because this woman is determined as well. She thinks that she is fighting for the right thing. So when she had accepted her defeat, accepted being this key word in this sentence, I knew some shit was going to go down. I did not expect her to, like, throw open her jacket and be all bombed up, you know? Girl, you're really not helping the claims that you're a terrorist. Oh my god. When it was revealed that Todd had saved the mayor instead of Simone, I was so crushed. I was like, no, Todd, why did you do that? I was so happy because I thought maybe he was finally dead. I didn't have to worry about him anymore. He was out of the way. But no, of course that is not how it went down. I was so angry with that. So this whole thing with the noise, how the mayor, like, gave Todd the ability to silence his noise and to use it to control other people. Like, we've always known that Todd had a powerful noise and that he had the right power if he could learn how to control it. As we saw in the last book, how he defeated the mayor by blasting him with Viola over and over again. But now it's gotten a bit more discreet, a bit more tactical, just like everything else in this world. And I was not feeling good because I could tell that somehow their minds were linked together. And that was why the mayor was acting off and why Todd was starting to act off too. Because we know Todd has said from the start that he doesn't want to control people. But I think he said so himself, that he would like probably destroy the world if that meant he could save Viola. And that is what makes their relationship, as Viola said, dangerous but also very strong. Viola in this book, I was so happy because we start to see her become a leader more and more throughout it. Just like how Todd has said, just like how the mayor has said that Todd has the ability to become a great leader, Mistress Coyle says the same thing about Viola. And even though she is really sick with the armband, she still started to really become a voice of reason and peace in this whole thing. Okay, so 1017. Is that how you say it? I say 1017, 1017, whatever you say. That guy, oh my god, at the start, I thought it was so cool that we got a perspective from a spackle and we got to see really how they all connect to each other and how they've completely adapted to the way that this world works, in that everyone can hear each other's thoughts and they use it to bring themselves together, while the men and women used it to like tear them all apart. But his vendetta against Todd was so freaky, really. Like, I could understand where he was coming from in saying that Todd knew that what he was doing was wrong, as opposed to all of the other men who were doing it out of some cruel malice. So I understood that, but I didn't get why he was so pent up on revenge against Todd specifically. He was mad because the men had killed the Burden, and his one in particular. That's really cute, by the way, how they call their like partners that. And I would think that he would want to go after the mayor because he's the one, they know that he is the one leading all of the men, so wouldn't they want to take him down and not Todd? Like, use your heads, people. But I guess he did start to come around, how he became the Sky in the end and was leading the Spackle to war, but then Ben and Wilf managed to convince him not to do it. Wilf, can I just say, I love Wilf, like, a lot. He's just kind of that side character that doesn't say a whole lot. And he's a simple guy, you know, he just wants to ride his oxes and take care of his wife and just do the right thing, but he's always there. And he is calm and steady, and he really is the voice of reason. Like Viola and all of them others, they're good too, but Wilf is the man with the plan. So the usual course of these books by Patrick Ness is just one roller coaster of emotions where we tend to get a spark of happiness or hope and then it all just plummets into oblivion. So when we got this little window right before the last battle of happiness, that was such a great experience because we never get that. First, Todd manages to break away from this brain control thing that the mayor's got going on with him when Ben comes back. Oh my gosh, I was so happy. They literally like just ran to each other and he like tugged on them and you could hear Ben's noise saying how big he'd gotten and his father. Oh, I was just so happy, like reading about the joy that was just radiating off of both of them and bursting at the seams. I was like, yes, finally something good has happened to Todd. I was just so happy that that had happened because up until then he hadn't really, he was on a downward spiral because the whole thing with him saving the mayor had happened and they were wearing those uniforms and it was just awful. And then him and Viola are in the tent and they're talking and she can kind of hear in his noise how he just wants to touch her hand and her neck and stuff, and then she kisses him and it was great. Oh, the line was like, and I kissed him and it felt like finally. I agree, girl. Finally. I didn't know if their relationship was going to progress to that romantic level because I love their relationship so much, how they care so much about each other and they would do anything for each other. And I was fine with them just being like these friends that had this level of romantic love for each other. So when that happened, I was just so happy. So all of this happiness, clearly we need some tragedy. Obviously, that's just the way it goes. So the fucking mayor hijacks the ship by stealing the thing, the knowledge of how to pilot it from Bradley, and just starts killing everyone. He shoots at the Spackle after they finally made this peace treaty, and everything goes to hell. I was so mad. I was like, why do you exist? Why can't you just, for once in your life, not royally fuck up everything? We got this final battle going on. Todd and the mayor are over by the ocean. Viola and Bradley are running away from the river that is crushing New Prentisetown, and the Spackle are leading an army to fight what is left of the people up on the hill. Viola manages to stop them. Lee kills the guy even though he's blind. Wilf does his thing where he stops the Spackle by just letting out all of his genuine truth and goodness that comes with being Wilf. And Todd and the mayor are battling it out on the beach. The mayor's little explanation about how he had unlocked the secrets of the noise, basically, and how he could hear everything that was going on the planet, and he was basically knowledgeable of everything, and it was driving him crazy. If you think about it, if you did know all of the secrets to the universe, you would probably go insane, because knowledge is a very powerful thing, but it's also a very dangerous thing, I guess, because they do say ignorance is bliss, and I guess in this case it really is. But of course, Todd manages to lock him in. He manages to get him. So the mayor just walks into the ocean and gets swallowed by a giant fish. I think all villains should end their lives that way. It's a win-win situation. So everything is good. We've defeated the mayor. The war with the Spackle has ended. It's all good. And then Ben and the Sky show up, and Todd gets shot, and he's dying. Oh my god. That was the most heartbreaking thing I have ever read. You may not know this about me, but I don't cry. I'm not much of a crier. I don't cry in books, movies, TV shows. Like, I sometimes do, but it's very rare. Reading specifically, I don't think I've ever cried. I have teared up and a few drops have escaped, but nothing severe. The most I've ever actually cried while reading was while reading a Harry Potter Glee crossover fanfic. I'm not ashamed, but I actually cried while reading this. Like, I couldn't control it. Just when Ben started leaning over his body and just holding him and saying, my son, and then Viola didn't kill the guy. And so that was cool. And then they managed to preserve his body. Like, noise is still coming off of him. So he died, but he's not gone completely. So I was like, fuck, well, what now? And the book ends with Todd Noise, like, flying around the world saying that he's going to come back. And so I'm thinking, what now? So immediately after I finished that book, I read the short story Snowscape, which is set after Monsters of Men. If you haven't read that, you don't want to listen to me talk about it. Okay. And so we start that off, and it's through Lee's perspective, and him and Wilf and a bunch of other people are going on this expedition because the settlers finally landed in New World and they're trying to coexist with the Spackle, and it's all going pretty sweet. And they're on this expedition, and we're reading through Lee's point of view the whole time, and I'm like, what about Todd? What about Viola? We need to get back to Haven. Right at the very end, they're coming back from their mission, and I'm like, oh, this is how Patrick Ness is going to leave it, isn't it? He's just going to keep us questioning forever whether Todd made it back or not. This is so like him. But then in like the last page, Lee calls Viola on the projection thingy and they start talking, and then she's like, I've got some news, but I didn't want to tell you while you were in this traumatic experience you've got going on. And then Lee's like, oh no, it's Todd, isn't it? And then she breaks out into a big smile and she's like, he's awake, he's awake. The last lines ever of the Chaos Walking that we'll ever read are he's awake. I just wanted more. I wanted to see Todd wake up. I wanted to see them be reunited again. But I'm happy. At least it all ended out okay in the end. So that is all I really have to say for now. Just read the Chaos Walking books. Definitely going to be checking out all of his other stuff. Alright, that is all I have for you today. Goodbye.